Hey, guess what's happening on this week's episode of the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with your friend and host, Oscar Camejo.
I'm often asked two questions when people learn that I used to be 268 pounds, lost over 80 pounds, and was able to reverse type 2 diabetes in less than a year. Number one, what diet program did I use? And number two, how was I able to keep the weight off? If you're having trouble losing weight and keeping it off, even though you may be on a quote unquote good diet program, you're probably at that point where you're simply just wanting to fix the problem because your diet isn't working. Just like the many people who ask me the same questions all the time about my dieting and how I'm able to keep the weight off, I get where you are. It's not about being highly restrictive and being on a very limiting diet program that frankly doesn't work. Listen, I know people who've gone to drastic measures to cut their favorite carbs. People are out there counting calories like crazy. They're meal prepping, and it just seems like nothing is working. They're going on this up and down roller coaster ride. Listen, I've been there before. I've been at that point where you just get frustrated at the lack of results, or maybe the results that you're getting are very, very minimal. You may be in this cycle of yo-yo dieting. You try this diet and trying that diet and nothing seems to work. You're seeing some success and you're experiencing what seems like more failures than wins. I get it. Listen, I've been there, done that. Today, let's work on getting to the root cause and fixing it. I'm going to share with you ways to start rethinking how you approach food and how to achieve lasting results, because food is the solution, folks, no matter how you look at it. You can't out-exercise a bad diet. Trust me. So in this week's episode, I'm going to talk with you about the psychological debt cycle that you may have never heard about. I'm going to show you how to break the cycle of weight gain, weight loss, and weight regain that so many of you may be struggling with. And of course, I'm going to share with you my recommendations on some great material and resources to help take your journey of health and long life to the next level. So stick around to hear the rest of today's episode. You don't want to miss it. Let's go. Be sure to visit the website at www.beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com for access to free resources and other information that will help you along your journey. If you would like to submit a question or a comment about the show or to learn more about the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle, you can always email me at hello@beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to this podcast. Welcome to the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with me, your host, Oscar Camejo, helping diabetics make lifestyle changes to reverse type 2 diabetes. So let's dive into this week's episode, why your diet may not be working. My whole purpose for this episode is to show you how eating with a purpose is a better solution for losing weight and keeping the weight off. Not only that, it's a great solution for reversing type 2 diabetes. When I was 268 pounds and newly diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, no one talked to me about reversing type 2 diabetes. No one talked to me about coming off medication. Instead, it was a complete opposite. I was told that I was going to have to live with type 2 diabetes and be on medication for the rest of my life. And to be honest, I meet people, whether on TikTok, on Instagram, or Facebook, that are going through the same issues. They're being told that, hey, there's nothing you can do to change your circumstance. Que sera, sera. And so guess what? There's a lot of people who feel like, hey, why even try to change my lifestyle habits of eating? Maybe I should just continue just enjoying what I eat, continue enjoying how I live. And you know what? I just have to accept the fact that I have type 2 diabetes and there's nothing that I can do to change it. And so they engage in self-sabotaging habits. They don't push themselves to go beyond what they're being told. My physician Bless his heart, he told me that I was going to be on medication for the rest of my life. But there was something in me that was like, no, man, there has to be a better way. So I had enough determination to really just do a deep dive into learning about type 2 diabetes, learning about, yes, exercise, but mostly learning about food. And it was on that journey of discovery that I learned a lot about the healing property of food and that food is a solution because it made so much sense. The reason why I gained weight wasn't because I was not exercising. The reason why I developed type 2 diabetes wasn't because I didn't have the perfect workout program. No, it was because of food and the things that I was putting in my body. Not only food, but the things that I was drinking, like the high sugary drinks, the sodas, and so forth. Those liquid calories were adding to my weight gain. And yes, on top of that, me being very sedentary, not moving a lot and definitely not exercising enough contributed to my weight gain. So I had to really change my mindset. Just like so many of you who may be listening and you may be self-sabotaging your way to success. Yes, you want to see changes, but you're just like, you have these habits that are setting you back. You have situations that are setting you back, and it could be life. It could be family obligations. It could be all kinds of things. You fill in the blank. You may have allowed your family situation to put you over the top. And now you're looking back and you're like, man, how did I gain all this weight? Listen, I can relate. I've been there. It's that thing of putting others before ourselves in order to make other people happy or to take care of obligations, whether you have kids who are depending on you or a spouse and so forth. And you just get to the point where you neglect yourself. I get there. I get it. Been there, done that. You may be a man who's traveling and working hard and trying to provide for your family. And the last thing that's on your mind is taking care of your health. You may be a single mom out there raising kids and it's tough to get to the gym. And I'm not saying get to the gym and going to the gym is going to be the solution to your issue. Of course not. The thing that we have in common is our eating, right? Whether we're eating too much of the wrong thing, eating late at night, snacking on our foods that we crave, whether it's sweets or certain carbs or whatnot. You get it. I totally know what you're dealing with. Trust me. So before going any further into examining what may be wrong with your diet, let's address the elephant in the room, and that's your mindset. How are you feeling about yourself and your weight problem right now? Do you even feel like you have a weight problem? Do you feel like you have an issue with poor eating? So I want you to be honest. I want you to say it out loud right now. I am, and I want you to fill in the blank with your emotions and your mindset right now. Again, the elephant in the room is your mindset. How do you feel? How do you think about your weight and your current situation, your health situation? Are you angry? Are you mad? Are you sad, frustrated, disappointed? Are you even ready to give up? Are you at that point where you simply don't know what to do? Now, this is what I want you to say after you've addressed the elephant in the room, which is your mindset. Now I want you to turn that around and say this. Despite how I'm feeling about myself and my situation right now, my life will be transformed and I'm going to do whatever it takes to change my mindset. That's a powerful thing to do. Now, repeat after me. Despite how I'm feeling about myself and my situation right now, my life will be transformed and I'm going to do whatever it takes to change my mindset. That's a new foundation, folks. Now, if you took the time to repeat that, I want you to believe it. If you have to pause or rewind this episode just to repeat what you just said, do it. It's important because remember, The battlefield is in your mind, your mindset, and how you approach dieting and how you approach losing weight, how you approach coming off medication, safely, of course, how you approach getting to a healthy weight, how you approach reversing type 2 diabetes starts with your mindset. It doesn't start with a specific diet program. It doesn't start with a specific exercise program. It starts in the mind. You see, folks, when I was overweight and weighing 268 pounds, and like I said before, when I was first diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, all of this hit me like a ton of bricks. I was hospitalized, and in the hospital is when I learned that I had type 2 diabetes. Leading up to going to the hospital, I had gone to my doctor's office because I wasn't feeling well. I was really drained and just, something was off. So we did some blood work. It was on a Wednesday. And then by that Sunday, I get a call from my doctor's office. Can you believe it? On a Sunday, hearing from your doctor's office. I was told to go to the emergency room right away. And I went to the hospital. I was dropped off. It was scary. This was in the height of the pandemic in August 2020. And you hear stories about people with illnesses and so forth, not coming home and just dying in the hospital. So there was a lot of pressure. I was stressed out already. Stuff was happening personally in my life that really just contributed to just fatigue and weight gain and a whole bunch of other stuff was going on. So after a few days in the hospital, I remember finally getting out of bed, and I was sitting by a window and I was looking out, and I was thinking, man, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? I was roughly about 46, 47 at the time. And it was a sobering moment. I took some time to really think about what would just happen. A few days ago, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. I had to come to the realization that I got myself in this situation. I ignored my doctor's orders a couple of years ago when the weight gain really started and I was diagnosed with prediabetes. This was back in 2018 when I was first diagnosed with prediabetes. So now here it is 2 years later, I finally developed full-blown type 2 diabetes. And it was sobering. I had to learn about insulin and taking insulin injections and sticking myself in the gut and learning about oral medications and all this other stuff. And on top of that, learning that I had high cholesterol and high blood pressure. Man, it was scary. I'll be honest. Fellas, if you are out there, and ladies, I get it. If you've ever been hospitalized because of type 2 diabetes, it's not a fun ride. Or maybe you know somebody who, was in the hospital and maybe they never came home. Maybe they did come home, or maybe they came home with one less limb. My mind frame around type 2 diabetes before all this stuff happened was, hey, type 2 diabetes are for people who, just really didn't take care of themselves. I don't know. It was just real crazy, man. Because I know people who've died of type 2 diabetes. I know people who've lost limbs, and you kind of feel sorry for those people, when you're not going through it. But then when you're going through it, you're like, oh, wow. So this is what that person has been going through. So in any case, I was given a whole bunch of material at the hospital, this packet of information that just seemed so overwhelming. And I'm like, oh, man, so this is what type 2 diabetes is. This is what blood sugar is. This is what glucose is. This is what insulin is. I'm like, oh, man. So I knew I needed to fix my mindset. I had to get my emotions in check. You're going to have to do the same thing, folks. No diet program can fix your thoughts. No exercise program can fix your thoughts. No diet pill can fix your thoughts. There are some people who go to really extreme measures to lose weight, the certain surgeries, and they end up hurting themselves or making things worse. So change your thinking in order to change your life. Dieting can create a mindset of succeeding or failing, success or failure. You go on a diet, so either you're going to succeed in the diet or you're going to fail, right? So dieting can create this mindset of success or failure. But that mindset can lead to potentially harmful roller coaster riding or yo-yo dieting, right? This is why your diet may not be working, because our approach to these diets are, man, either I'm going to succeed or I'm going to fail. So let me just try whatever seems like it can work. And a lot of times we jump on diet programs because we heard somebody else did it or we saw an ad and the ad looks pretty cool, but those ads don't fit our particular lifestyle. So here's the psychological debt cycle that a lot of people have dealt with, including myself in the past. The cycle starts with you starting a diet. You see some weight loss, maybe 1 to 5 pounds. You feel restricted, and that restriction eventually leads to the development of cravings. It's like, oh man, I'm starting this diet. I'm seeing some weight loss, feeling good, but then you get to that point where it's like, man, this is so restrictive. I don't know if I can handle it. So these cravings start to develop, right? And then guess what? You give in to the cravings and then you start to overeat because you're like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. This one cheat meal is not going to hurt me. So that one cheat meal turns into a second cheat meal and so forth. Then guess what? Your weight loss starts slowing down, or it stops and gets to the point where you just hit a plateau. Then you start feeling guilty. And guess what? That guilt causes you to eat more. Then guess what happens? You start gaining the weight back. And in many cases, people start gaining more weight than they had before. Then they start feeling frustrated. And that frustration leads to, now I got to change, which is now repeating the cycle. It could be a year later. It could be 6 months later. It could be, years later. And then you want to try something new because guess what? The diet was a problem, right? That's our mindset. I was on the wrong diet. I was on this diet and it didn't work for me. So guess what? You have gained the weight and even more on top of that. And you're frustrated and you're like, you know what? I'm going to be serious this time. So guess what? You go and you decide to reboot and the whole cycle starts all over again because you're thinking that the diet is a solution. So guess what? You hear about this other diet program and you spend all this money to get on this diet program that seems much more promising than the other. So guess what? You start that program, you start seeing weight loss, again, 1 to 2 pounds, you start feeling good. But then guess what? You get to that point where that diet program has you feeling so doggone restricted. And guess what happens again? The cravings become strong and even stronger than before. Then you start giving into the cravings and guess what? You start overeating. Then guess what? Your weight loss starts to slow down or stops and you hit this plateau. And what happens again in that psychological debt cycle? You start feeling guilty. That guilt leads to eating more. Then you start gaining weight and you start gaining more weight than before. And eventually you start feeling frustrated. So there's a never ending cycle. So this may be your second time rebooting and you came across my podcast and you're like, you know what? I've been searching for something, on dieting and, I want to find the next best diet, the thing that's going to work this time. I want you to stop it. This may be your third time around. Heck, it may be your fourth time around. I don't know. The problem is the approach to dieting. Folks, let me say this. And this is probably going to go contrary to all the ads that you see pop up in your social media feed, whether you're on TikTok or Facebook, Instagram, wherever you hang out. It's going to go contrary to stuff that you see on television. Dieting is not the solution. A complete lifestyle change is. I will tell you this. I have never gone on a diet. I have never subscribed to a diet program. And I can say that with confidence. I didn't lose over 80 pounds because I went on a diet. No, I didn't come off all medications in less than a year and was able to reverse type 2 diabetes in less than a year because I went on a specific diet. No, I started approaching food differently. So, how do you stop the psychological debt cycle? Well, there's a reason why you have intense cravings while you're on your diet program. There's a reason why you may be turning to food and giving in to having more than one cheat meal a week. When you quickly deprive yourself of quote unquote bad foods that you enjoy, you are going to feel cravings more intensely, and you are going to give in to those cravings eventually. You're going to feel like you failed after every cheat meal. You see, I'm not a fan of these quick weight loss programs. Never have I been a fan of them. You know, my dad used to always say, watch out for gimmicks. And I guess I'm just wired that way where I can spot gimmicks. And a lot of times these weight loss programs just seem very gimmicky. You know, lose 30 pounds in 30 days, quick weight loss program, guaranteed, and all that stuff. So, and I'm in marketing too, so I understand the psychological draw that a lot of these ad campaigns are on. Listen, a lot of these programs, they're just trying to sell subscriptions. They're trying to sell a product. I get bombarded all the time with people emailing me about wanting to come on the show and push their products that are guaranteed to help people to lose weight and all this other stuff. And I'm like, you guys don't even know who you're emailing and who you're trying to contact. You know, I'm not a gimmick follower. You see, these quick weight loss programs create all these restrictions that leave you feeling trapped and eventually cause those cravings to just grow more intensely than before. You know, instead, I believe that cravings and overeatings have to be dealt with slowly and steadily. Now, for my diabetic listeners, if you're overweight and you've been dealing with weight problems for a very long time, I know you want to shed those pounds quickly. Trust me, I know it. You're tired of carrying all that excess weight. I know you don't like the way you look in your clothes. I know you don't like the way your clothes fit right now. You hate dealing with the back and knee pain when you sit down, stand up, when you go walking, when you're going up and down stairs. I get it. You're trying to figure things out and you're frustrated. Remember, slow and steady is the key to seeing lasting change. It's not the quick diet programs. It's not the quick weight loss programs that are going to have you to see lasting results. Listen, yeah, you can lose, 5-10 pounds quickly by, cutting corners and doing these extreme diets. But don't you want to keep the weight off? They say if you can achieve at least 5% of weight loss and maintain that 5% weight loss over time, you're going to start seeing some improvements in your health. So imagine if you go from 5% to 10% and you're able to keep that weight off over a long period of time. You can experience the type of results that I'm telling you. Now, I know you're saying, okay, Oscar, get to it. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Yeah, we're going to get there. But I need to lay this foundation for you so you can understand the importance of changing your mindset when it comes to dieting, because you're being bombarded with diet programs all the time. I know it. Instead of cutting out certain foods cold turkey or adopting a new diet program immediately, I want you to start first focusing on controlling how much you're eating. And that's your portion control. Instead of eating 2 hamburgers with a whole bunch of cheese, just eat 1 hamburger. Make some small changes. Instead of eating 12 donuts, eat 6. Instead of eating 6 donuts, eat 3. So you get the mentality, cutting things in half gradually. Instead of drinking an entire liter of soda in a day, cut back to half. It's about weaning yourself off of the foods and drinks that are contributing to your weight gain. And it also starts with educating yourself on foods and drinks that are either helping or hurting your plan to lose weight, keep the weight off, reversing type 2 diabetes, getting off medications. You see, the more you eat, the more likely it will be that you will gain weight. The more soda you drink, the more likely those liquid calories are going to contribute to your weight gain. Whatever holds your attention the most and holds your attention the longest is what you're going to desire the most. I learned that a long time ago. So, for example, if you stare at a picture of a juicy hamburger and fries for a long period of time, guess what? You will eventually develop a taste for that thing. Whether you're watching social media, television, whatever it may be, if you're paying attention to those craving foods, those foods that you have a craving for, the sweets, the greasy foods, the fried chicken, the fried fish, if you're constantly bombarding yourself with images, those images are going to create a desire in you. You ever wonder why there's so many fast food places, hamburger joints, up and down the highway when you're on your way home, on your way to work? You have this place where you can go get some fried chicken. You have this place to go get a hamburger. You have this place to go get some home cooked meal, quote unquote, but it's all fast food. You ever wonder why all these restaurants are so accessible? They know that people are busy and we want quick, fast food because we have to eat to survive. So if you take a step back and look at the psychological impact that seeing all these images have on you and your choices, then you'll start thinking like, wow, man, that's why I have a craving for sweets. I remember going to the grocery store. I like to go to the grocery store often. I just like going. And you ever notice when you go down to the checkout, you go through the checkout line, whether it's self-checkout or you go through the line where the cashier is. On your left and right, you're going to see the drink machines, right? The little refrigerators with the drinks, and there's always soda or some fruit juice or some highly sugary, a high sugar drink in those refrigerators. Just look at it. Or it could be some energy drinks. Go to your local grocery store and you will see right at the end cap at the registers, you're going to see that. Then what's the next thing you see? Chips or some other type of snacks. And on top of that, what do you see? Candy. So you're bombarded with liquid calories in drinks. You have chips or certain snacks that are high in saturated fat. Then you're bombarded with sweets. When I used to go to the store, when I was overweight and so forth, dealing with food cravings, I always picked up a Pepsi and some, I think it was Reese's peanut butter cups, right? I used to pick up those two things and maybe a bag of chips without even thinking about it. It was my habit. I was not mindful of what I was putting in my body. All I know is, hey, I like Pepsi, I like chips and, Doritos, and I like Reese's peanut butter cups. And mindlessly, I would just go ahead and pick up those three things. And by the time I checked out and got to my car, the soda was half gone. The Reese's peanut butter cups were definitely gone. And the chips, I would snack on that on the way home or wherever I was going. So that was my habit. What about you? Pause for a moment and think, what's your normal habit when you go to the gas station? Do you stop at the same gas station every day? Do you get the same things every day? When you go to the grocery store, no matter what you're buying, you may have gone in to pick up one thing, but you come out with these extra snacks that you didn't plan on getting, but you're getting it out of habit. Now, again, remember what I said earlier. Whatever holds your attention the most and the longest is what you're going to desire. When you go through these checkout lines, those things, along with the magazines and all the other stuff, they're designed to grab your attention and cause you to impulse shop. Those are called impulse items. Now imagine if those aisles, the checkout aisles didn't have the sodas, didn't have the chips, didn't have the candies and all the other junk stuff that we put in our bodies. Imagine if they didn't have those there. That will drastically reduce what you spend your money on and what you're putting in your body, hopefully. So if your attention is on those things that are constantly driving your cravings, your attention is going to lead to you acting on those cravings, which is buying the stuff and eating it. Even before you go to the grocery store, if you were to look around your home right now, and I had to do this myself, I had to take an inventory of what was in my cabinet. I had to look at what was in my refrigerator. I had to look at what was in my freezer. I had to look at what was in my pantry. And folks, to be honest, there was a bunch of chips, there's cookies, there's Pop-Tarts, there was lots of fruit juices, there was soda, and there were a lot of things that were contributing to my cravings for sweets, cravings for foods that were not helping my body. So remember, we were talking about the psychological dieting cycle and dealing with your thoughts about yourself and your relationship with food. I want you to start redirecting your focus towards healthier things to feed your mind and to feed your body. When it comes to nutrition and foods, spend more time in the produce aisle, getting vegetables. Slow down and see all the variety of vegetables that are on sale. Stop rushing when you go to the store. Yeah, you may be making a beeline to get ice cream because it's Friday night and you like to have your favorite snacks over the weekend, and you just load your shopping cart with ice cream, chips, and so forth. It could be sports season, your favorite sports season, and it's snack time. You're getting ready for the weekend. I want you to stop, slow down, and ask yourself. And this is a part of being more mindful of the things that you're putting in your body. I'm not talking about restricting yourself. I'm talking about taking an educated approach to the things that you're putting in your body. Slow down and ask yourself, when I buy these chips, what are these chips going to do to my body? What are the benefits? If I buy this soda, what is the benefit that this soda is going to have for my body? Is it sweet tea? Is it lemonade? I don't care what it is. What benefit is this drink going to have to my body? When was the last time I drank some water? When was the last time I actually went the entire day with just drinking water? So stop rushing. Spend less time in the snack and soda aisle. Spend less time staring at all the flavors of ice cream. That's your nutrition. Now, remember, I mentioned to you about vegetables. I started buying books that were about foods. I started buying books that focus on vegetables and the healing property of vegetables. Folks, I'm telling you, the more I saturated my thinking with understanding about vegetables, the more and more my body started desiring more vegetables. I mean, people who know me now, I don't eat fried foods anymore. I gave it up because I realized fried foods have like zero benefit to health. They actually can lead to high cholesterol. Certain foods and how foods are prepared rather can lead to high cholesterol. So I stopped eating fried food. It's not that I was restricting myself and went on a diet. I just realized that fried food, fried chicken and fried fish, French fries, they have like zero benefit. So the more I started learning about vegetables and even learning about the colors and how the colors have significance. I mean, God knew what he was doing when he created all these vegetables, from green vegetables to yellow vegetables, red, purple, all of these varieties. And I'm like, you know what, man, I actually do love vegetables. I love spinach. I love squash. I love kale, zucchini. I love red peppers, green peppers. I love purple onions more than I love the regular white onions, and carrots. And so now when I start eating, I'm eating with a purpose. And that's what I want to drive home to you today is stop dieting, but now begin eating with a purpose. Eat more vegetables because you want to experience more energy. you want to experience the healing property of vegetables. Every morning I make a smoothie, Monday through Friday, without fail. And my smoothies, my morning smoothies, are typically green. I like to start the day off with lots of green because of energy and antioxidant properties, and so forth. So I like to start my day off with something green, lots of green. So I'll make a smoothie that has either spinach or kale in it, lots of it. I'll add a cucumber in there. And basically, that's my base. I don't do any like milk, or I used to do like coconut water or almond milk in my smoothies. And now I just use water. I just love water. It's just another way for me to make sure I get lots of water in my diet. And so that morning smoothie, I'll add a protein powder in it, like a whey protein or whatnot, because proteins are the building blocks of our muscles. So it's very important for us to make sure we have protein. Some people like plant-based protein, which is great. Some people are okay with animal-based protein, like whey protein. That's fine. So my point is, another way to incorporate more vegetables in your diet is by starting your day off with the vegetables. You may start your day off with coffee and a donut. Now, what benefit does that coffee and donut have on your overall health? Very little. You may say, well, Oscar, I don't put any sugar or cream in my coffee. Now that's great. I'm not trying to demonize coffee at all. I'm not even trying to demonize donuts, but you just have to think, is that donut benefiting me at all? Is that bagel benefiting you at all? Especially the bagel with all the cream cheese and so forth. So I want you to change how you start your day. Some mornings I'll do boiled eggs with some avocado. I eat like half an avocado. The avocado is green. It also is a healthy fat, a healthy version of fat. Eating fat is not a problem. Eating fat doesn't put on fat. It doesn't work like that. So an avocado is a healthy form of fat. It's called dietary fat. So I do my smoothie, I do 2 boiled eggs, and I'll do half an avocado. And I start the day, and guess what? That will take me all the way through lunch. And at lunch, I'm very mindful of what I put in my body. I could be surrounded with a bunch of food offerings that include fried chicken, fried fish, lots of bread, and lots of all this other stuff. But I'm okay with eating lots of vegetables. Half of my plate is typically vegetables, So hopefully you get what I'm saying. Again, remember, whatever holds your attention the most and the longest is what you're going to desire. I want you to get to the point where you're desiring more variety of vegetables. You're desiring water as opposed to, and even if you have to flavor your water with lemon, I'd rather you drink more water than soda, more water than fruit juices, and so forth. Now, you may say, well, Oscar, if I just buy store-bought fruit juice, isn't that just fruit that's just been juiced? Yeah, but it's been processed, and they add a lot of artificial sweeteners to it to give it more of that original taste, if you will. It may be very little actual fruit extract in those drinks. So I rather you, if you want a fruit juice, buy yourself a juicer and make your own juice at home. At least you know that it's not being pumped with a bunch of sugar that you really don't need. Yes, I know it's a hassle to clean, but you know what? Hey, folks, I'd rather you pay for it now, pay for it in a good way by investing in a good juicer, a good blender, invest that time of cleaning, or else you're going to pay for it later in life. So just trust me on that. Okay. Physical exercise is important, but remember, physical exercise and doing a lot of it is not what's going to cause you to lose weight. That's to get your body moving. it actually can help with you just developing more energy and strength and conditioning, endurance, and so forth. But remember, you cannot out exercise a poor diet. Rather than wait on a desired day to work out and think that, hey, if I work out on Monday and I do this intense workout, then on Tuesday I can eat whatever I want. No, it doesn't work like that. You can do a lot of intense workout 5-7 days a week and totally kill your gains, if you will, by making poor choices. So you don't want to do that, folks. Just trust me. So again, whatever holds your attention the most and the longest is what you're going to desire. I want you to start feeding your mind. I like to buy lots of books on nutrition and fitness. I encourage you to do the same. You do some research, learn about vegetables, learn about specific vegetables, learn about specific fruit, and so forth. It is recommended that we have at least 5 servings of fruit and vegetables every day, but learn why. I never knew beforehand years ago that I would love kiwi as much as I love kiwi now. I eat oranges, I eat grapes, I eat raspberries, strawberries, blueberries, and all of these varieties of fruit have important health properties that can benefit your overall health. I hear folks say, oh, as a diabetic, you got to stay away from bananas because bananas, will drive up your blood sugar. Folks, listen. I've been eating bananas in my smoothies and before workouts for all these years since losing over 80 pounds when I was 268 and was able to come off type 2 diabetes and did not have to worry about eating bananas. Now, I know you have certain fruit that may, for some people, drive their blood sugar up, but guess what? Whole fruits, not the store-bought dried fruit that is in a bag that is pumped full of sugar, right? Or coated with a bunch of sugar or glazed with a bunch of sugar. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about whole fruit has what's called natural fiber. Fiber, like in kiwi, for example, that fiber content of the outside and the inside of that kiwi actually helps to naturally blunt the impact of the naturally occurring sugar that you find in fruit. Fiber is very important, folks. Trust me. So I rather eat 3 kiwi than eating 1 donut. You see what I'm saying? People say, well, sugar is sugar. No, naturally occurring sugar versus processed sugar, they have different impacts on the body. So you don't have to fear fruit. You don't have to fear, certain foods that are naturally occurring or have naturally occurring sugars. You don't have to fear that. Again, education is important. That's why I say feed your mind so that you can make better and informed decisions. Keep them around you. Keep the books around you. Keep your mind saturated with things that are going to help you to learn more about health and nutrition. Read lots of articles, watch YouTube, fitness channels, the good ones. Follow social media influencers who focus on practical health solutions and nutrition. Keep tuning into my podcast. Keep checking me out on WebMD and the articles that I write. The goal is to change your mindset, is to saturate your mind with more positive things as it relates to your nutrition and your overall health. Folks, there was a time that during the week, Monday through Friday, I did not watch television because I realized, and even being on social media late at night, I realized those things like TV and the binging on the latest TV show and binging on social media posts and what's going on in the world were really draining me of time. It was a time waster. And when I could be using that time more constructively to learn about health, even if it's 5, 10, 15 minutes a day of just scaling back away from what's going on in the world and the negative news here, the negative news there, and even your TV shows, and replacing that time with education and learning about your health and nutrition really is going to hold your attention, is going to change your attention, is going to change your desire to learn more about your health. And I'm telling you, folks, the more I did that, the more I became energetic and excited about health and nutrition. So if you're a diabetic and you're dealing with type 2 diabetes, or maybe you have pre-diabetes and your diet isn't working, this is what will work. Number one, eat a healthy, balanced meal more than you eat non-healthy and unbalanced meal. That's number one. Number two, I want you to practice portion control rather than overloading your plate. I want you to listen to your body. Eat when you're hungry and stop when you're almost full. You don't have to eat till you're stuffed. I know the holidays come around and you're like, you know what? Hey, I want to eat my mom's or grandma's favorite, dish, the sweet potato pie and the home cooked meal. And I'm just going to eat till I get stuffed. Well, you don't have to always eat till you get stuffed. You can enjoy yourself, but just don't go overboard. When it comes to exercise, yes, I do recommend that you exercise at least 30 minutes a day. If you do that for 5 days a week, guess what? That's 150 minutes of exercise. And when you're exercising, be mindful of how you're exercising. You're not just going to the gym and doing something that's really not challenging. You want to challenge yourself in a smart way. If you have to get a personal trainer, get a personal trainer. Download an exercise app that's going to help you to stay focused, to stay committed. Do that. Number 5, I want you to manage your stress so that it doesn't drive you to eating comfort food. So again, manage your stress so that stress doesn't drive you to eating comfort food. And number 5, get enough sleep every night, folks. Get your 7 to 8 hours of sleep. If you can swing 9, go for it. Because guess what? Poor sleep will cause you to be less productive. So getting enough sleep every night is going to have tremendous results and tremendous benefits for you. It's going to affect your moods. It's going to even affect your eating and so forth. So give your body time to rest and repair itself. Sleep is that time where your body goes into repair mode. Okay. So keep that in mind. Remember, eat a healthy and balanced meal more than you eat non-healthy meals. Practice your portion control rather than overloading your plate. Number 3, listen to your body. Eat when you're hungry and stop when you're almost full. Number 4, exercise at least 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Number 5, manage your stress. Number 6, get sufficient sleep every night. So folks, those are things that you can start doing to just scratch the surface of reversing your mindset when it comes to dieting, because dieting doesn't work. It's all about what we do long term as a lifestyle. So why is your diet not working? Maybe it's because your approach to dieting is off. So you want to create a lifestyle of eating. You want to create positive habits, because when you start eating with a purpose, you'll realize that eating with a purpose is a better solution for weight loss and reversing type 2 diabetes than your typical diet. So, my friends, I want you to check out some of my resources that I have on my website. I have a free shopping guide that will help you to lose weight. I have all kinds of resources, articles and so forth, and other podcast episodes that I recommend that's going to help you to deal with cravings. Matter of fact, I have a podcast episode that's called How to Beat Diabetes by First Beating Food Cravings. It's a great supplement to today's episode, so go ahead and search for that. I have, like I said, all kinds of material on my website. So go to beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com to get more information. I have a ton of books that I can recommend. For example, by Dr. William Lee, How to Beat Your Diet, Burn Fat, Heal Your Metabolism, and Live Longer. So that's by Dr. William Lee, and Lee is spelled L-I. There's another book by James Clear. I love this book. It's called Atomic Habits, an easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones. And last one by Joyce Meyer. She talks about the battlefield of the mind. That's the title of her book. It's called The Battlefield of the Mind. These are 3 resources that I definitely recommend to help you to be on your way to not only looking and feeling great, but for you to experience lasting results, reverse type 2 diabetes, and in the process, help other people do the same thing. So as always, my friends, stay focused, keep moving, never go back, leap forward, bounce back because you can, my friend. And above all else, trust God. You got this. I believe in you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with Oscar Camejo. We hope you enjoyed this episode. As a reminder, this podcast is intended for motivational and educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional care by a physician or other healthcare professional or qualified fitness instructor. This podcast is provided on the understanding that it does not constitute medical or professional advice or services. If you're looking for help on your journey, seek a qualified medical practitioner. It's important that you utilize someone who is a trained, licensed healthcare professional who can help you on your journey toward good health.